Four by the West Coast Eagles in that quarter, and the Cats just marginally increasing their lead at half-time, although, as I said during the commentary, the Cats at one stage led by 54 points midway through the second quarter. A very interesting second half we are certainly looking forward to. Rather cool in Melbourne, but things certainly hotted up during the week at VFL House, and one of the highlights of the week in the VFL was the awarding of retrospective Brownlow medals to a number of players. Let's check on the highlights of the week in the VFL.
A vicious start to the VFL season had the spotlight firmly planted on league headquarters early in the week. A record number of reports forced the tribunal into 3 sittings. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Wednesday, and the talk was still tribunal. Collingwood wanted the Starcevic case reopened, claiming new witnesses would affect the result. Also on Wednesday, an historic decision. It was announced Brownlow medals would be awarded retrospectively to those champions of the past who had tied. The medals, 8 in all, were presented on Thursday. Surely better late than never. That day too, good and bad news for the Magpies. Craig Starcevic would not have his case reheard, but on the plus side, Murray Renstead announced,
I'm a Magpie.
Signing for 2 years, he'll line up with the Collingwood reserves today. And yesterday, St Kilda ruckman Bob Jones had horrid fears confirmed. A medial ligament torn during the game against the Bears will force him to have a total knee reconstruction, ruling him out of action for most of the year.
Last week, of course, we told you about Holden's greatest 25 players since 1965. And last week, we also announced that Gerard Healy came in at number 25. And later in that telecast today, we'll be telling you who fills the slot at number 24. During our match so far between Geelong and the West Coast Eagles, we've seen some pretty good grabs taken. Let's go back now to last week, and we check on the Holden's Mark of the Week.
Phil Scott.
Another great mark by Scott. He sets it up.
Still in the forward line, but this time it's Collingwood and Brian Taylor.
Taylor with a
and Taylor again. Hawthorn's Andrew Gowers showed enormous courage when he took this mark. So too did the Magpies' Michael Christian. Demon Alan Johnson was another contender this week.
Centering kick.
As was North Melbourne's Ian Fairley. Geelong half-forward Barry Stoneham is proving a handful for defenders. And here's his teammate, Mark Yates. But the winner of round 1 in Holden's Mark of the Year is St Kilda's Tony Lockett.
And Tony Lockett taking some great grabs yesterday too, and finished up kicking 10 goals in the Saints' 4-point win over Carlton. So certainly he could be in line for Mark of the Week in round 2 as well. We'll take a break, and we'll be looking at our Meet the Player segment with Michael Roberts in just a moment.
As it too concluded in a heart-stopping draw. An unprecedented coincidence of excitement, tension and sportsmen at their best. Another great sporting moment from Gillette. The best a man can get.
Where the Cats are leading the West Coast Eagles by 28 points at half-time. One of our regular half-time features is our Meet the Player segment. This week it features former Hawk star Russell Green with Michael Roberts.
Just when St Kilda wingman Russell Green thought he was in the prime of his VFL career, his days in the red, white and black Guernsey was cut short suddenly in 1980, when he was sacked from the club he started with as a 15-year-old. Before the 23-year-old knew what had happened, he was pulling on the brown and gold colours of Hawthorn, whose coach Alan Jeans nurtured Green as a raw teenager at St Kilda. At the time, Green could well have been daunted as he rubbed shoulders with the likes of Lee Matthews, Peter Knights and Don Scott. But the talented ex-Saint quickly knuckled down to the challenge of becoming a consistent member of the all-conquering Hawthorn combination. He played 120 games with the Saints and a further 184 with Hawthorn, to become only the 5th Hawk to reach the 300-game milestone. Green also played in 3 premierships and captained Victoria in 1985.
A lot of waters passed under the bridge, but initially it was a real setback for me, but I had to talk to Yabby and he set me a few goals, and fortunately enough I was able to go on and achieve those things.
Jeans, who coached Green for a total of 12 years, left a lasting impression on the 31-year-old who accepted the position of under-19s coach earlier this year.
I've been very fortunate to have been under Jeans for 12 years, and obviously I'm going to employ a lot of his tactics and the way in which he speaks and that type of thing into my coaching. But also I believe if I'm to progress as a coach, I'll have to come up with a few ideas of my own to go forward. But I mean, I think we're all heavily influenced by people who have had an influence on us, and Alan Jeans has been tremendous for me.
He understands exactly what goes on. I think, you know, if his family commitments and permit him to allow him to do it, I think he would, you know, make an excellent coach.
The transition from playing to coaching up-and-coming youngsters has been difficult, and it took some time for Green to adjust after 16 years on the playing field. The realisation that he would no longer be an important cog in the Hawthorn machine was an obstacle he was forced to overcome. But the importance placed on his new role at Glenferrie Oval has overshadowed the initial despair.
The transition was one of, well, I wanted to play one more year. I had my knees done and so forth, all set to saddle up, and yeah, we just said, look, no, you're not going to play. We would like you to coach.
And Green is aware of the challenge ahead of him. The salary cap is putting pressure on VFL clubs to produce top-quality local footballers, rather than continually signing expensive interstate players. And Green's performance will have a large bearing on the success of Hawthorn in years to come.
Today's game is part of the Carlton and United Brewery 1989 Premiership season.
One of the matches being played today to complete round 2, and that is up at Carrara, where the Brisbane Bears are taking on the Sydney Swans. As we take a look at the score now, Brisbane led 4-5 to 2-5 in the first quarter at quarter time, and the progressive score there at the moment, the Bears 7-11-53, a little bit inaccurate in their kicking for goal. In fact, that has just gone half-time there. 7-11-53 to 4-8-32. So the Bears starting off well at Carrara this afternoon. And of course, the game here is vital for both sides after both of them were beaten in the opening round. And Geelong, after leading by 54 points, lead by 28 points here at the main change. Play resumes shortly. Right now, it's time for us to go back just a little bit. The pre-season competition here in the VFL was very, very successful. The Panasonic Cup was ultimately won by Melbourne, but we did see some great games. Here are some of the highlights.
We begin the plays of the Panasonic Cup with the Eagles' Peter Sumich passing the ball to Hawthorn's Peter Schwab. Glenn Hawker obviously hadn't finished talking to Gary Ablett, and he just refused to let him go. Rodney Grinter was the recipient of the most painful tackle of the Cup, and boy, was he in pain. Here's top comedian Simon Madden attempting to score a goal with his hand. Yes, it's good. Oh, no, you can't use your hand. Oh, well, pretty close, wasn't it, Umpy? Brother Justin obviously found it amusing. Now, what was the name of that song? Ah, yes, I Just Want to Be Your Friend. The Geelong mascot missed the easiest goal of the series. I guess that's why he's the mascot. However, Dwayne Russell soon made amends with this miraculous major from a near impossible angle. Hey, Dad, did you see that goal? Did you see it, huh? The award for the best imitation of having just one too many on a Saturday night went to Alistair Clarkson. And the happiest fans of the Panasonic Cup were these two supporters after the Eagles had beaten the Hawks by a point. It was Melbourne's Alan Johnson who scored the most unusual behind of the series. Seven's Dixie Marshall spent considerable time on the boundary line, and she didn't go unnoticed. Even Toddy thought it was laughable. The best mark of the Panasonic Cup was taken by Melbourne's Rod Grinter. And now back to our mascot friend. Well, he finally got it right, and was he wrapped because he made it into the plays of the Panasonic Cup.
Did I say some of the highlights of the Panasonic Cup? Maybe it was some of the lowlights, but there's going to be some great action, 2 tremendous quarters of football to come here at Kardinia Park. We'll return for the action in just a moment. I'm in favour of Geelong. Ross Glendinning, can the Eagles get up?
Well, their effort in that second quarter, Peter, was far better than what it was in the first. Even though Geelong had 20 scoring shots to the Eagles' 12, they certainly need this third quarter, and it's often called the premiership quarter, Peter, isn't it? And I would hope that they would, for the sake of the game, produce an equally effective second quarter in the third. And Geelong, certainly they'd be looking for a extending their lead from what it is at the moment.
Interesting statistics, Peter McKenna, 110 kicks to 98 in favour of the Eagles.
Yes, I think that's indicative of how short a game they do play, the Eagles, at times, and nothing in the handballs. But look at the marking, West Coast Eagles. Now, a lot of those marks, Ross, would be fair to say they'd be those little short kicks around the ground.
Certainly. What you said with the number of kicks, not that it's a great deal of difference in the kicks, but yes, shorter.
Dixie Marshall on the boundary line. Any news for us?
Hey, well, despite the revival, still a very quiet Eagles dressing room, sort of what it's like out here when the Eagles kick a goal. And you said West Australians were parochial. John Todd is still obsessed with the delivery of the ball. He's not impressed with their recovery or their support either. He says they're giving too much away too easily, but he is happier with their handling of the ball.
Thank you, Dixie. I'm looking forward to renewing old acquaintances over there for the State of Origin game at Subiaco. Always get plenty of advice from the crowd there.
You take it, Pete.
Of course, Peter. Well, they're pretty knowledgeable down here with their football too. 70-42 in favour of Geelong. With the West Coast Eagles, as Ross Glendinning mentioned just a few moments ago, coming back at them in that second term. So the challenge is there for Geelong once more. It will be a bounce just off the centre circle in the Eagles' attacking zone, but only by a couple of metres. Very important to get it out of the centre here. Rance got the tap out, picked up by Scott, but the umpire's given a free kick. And it will be taken by Scott, who boots Geelong forward. Stoneham, been well covered by Rance today. The latter going for the punch and did it effectively. Turner takes the hand pass, but there's going to be a free kick to Laidley, which he will take at centre half back. Langdon the target. Big punch away by Yates. Hits it up towards midfield. All scooped out by Bairstow onto Russell. Geelong's leading kick getter in the first half. Brownless up a mile down to Couch. Relays it to Scott. Plenty of Eagles there. Out comes Morgan, who kicked 3 goals at this end of the opening term. Now the umpire's given a free kick to Cameron. Ross, what was that for?
Well, he alleged that Dean Turner was infringing, not worrying as much about the ball as he was about Cameron now has a shot at goal.
Well, it will be a real steadier for the Cats if he can kick it. He's got the breeze behind him. It is just a breeze. It's not anything more than that. He's drifted it away. It's coming back, and the goal umpire says it's a goal. So that was the one that Geelong needed to start the quarter.
Certainly was, and that's an indication there of the correct way to kick the ball at that end of the ground. And we mentioned before the breeze just going a little right to left. A lot of the shots going far more left than some of the players appreciated. He just gave that enough inches there, Peter, didn't he, to get it through for a goal.
But the main thing, he really concentrated on that kick, and it's the reason he put it through. He's had a pretty quiet game, David Cameron, so far. But that's what the Eagles didn't want. 5-4 the difference, 34 points. And they need to really race. Oh, the umpire got in the way of Laurie Keane, and another big fist forward for Geelong. This time it could be a free kick, but Eagles way. Now they're paying the advantage to Malaxos. Malaxos or O'Connell interfered with 2 opponents then, and in fact the umpire eventually was going to pay the free kick and eventually paid the mark, I think, to...
They paid the free to Geelong, to Ablett.
Well, Ablett marked it anyway. But there's a long kick towards half-forward. Rance should mark this, and he does. Normally a one-grab man to Malaxos, who's been a pretty good player. He's gone short. Now, will they pay that one?
Yes, I think they will.
Langdon actually marked it, and then it was punched out of his hand. So this is Carl Langdon on centre wing. Now he's gone short to Pike. He's been a pretty good player. Certainly hasn't let them down today. He's kicked wide to the pocket. Sumic in front of Boss. Over the back is Phil Scott. Now let's see if we can get it round. Oh, he should have kicked it on the left. Instead he tried to handball. The short pass comes to Sean Denham. Oh, this has let Geelong in. As Darren Troy's coming down centre wing. Over the top he goes to Bairstow. Back to Troy. Here's danger for the Eagles. A shocking kick though by Troy. Cameron's there against Turner. Clever hand pass comes out to Mainwaring from Brennan. Further afield it goes. This is John Worsfold going towards half forward. Langdon out of position. The mark has been taken by McCrabb.
Well played. Up one end and then down the other very quickly there. McCrabb to Yates. Yates from the defensive 50. Long down towards the edge of the square. Stoneham almost held there by Rance. Socket away by Troy. Rance has done a particularly good job on him. Laidley behind Bairstow. Morgan, who kicked a goal from here in the first quarter with a similar type kick. He won't get one this time. Lockyer, the easiest of uncontested marks. It's almost tautological. Mark taken by Mainwaring. Is that 50? I would reckon.
Oh, could be another 50.
Tiggy touchwood stuff, but it's consistency. It should be a 50-metre penalty. To bring him up to the centre wing.
Sorry, but a good kick from Andrew Lockyer there. Had a shorter lead and went to the longer one of Chris Mainwaring.
Mainwaring on right centre wing to put the Eagles into attack. A crowded half-forward line. Big punch away by Yates. Ball down to Hocking. That's Gary Hocking. Loose ball, left half-back flank. Langdon outmanoeuvred there. Sees it across the line. And it will be a boundary throw-in. Austin McCrabb is number 38 for the Cats. Maybe an underrated player, but
played well in the Panasonic Cup matches, Pete.
He did, didn't he? Worsfold gets the hand pass away. Malaxos, high tackle. Stephen Malaxos on the edge of the square. John Todd's instruction to follow it. He should go direct, which he does. Good knock away by Schultz. Comes down to Bairstow after it was palmed down by Stephen Hocking.
Too easy out of defence there by Geelong. Now here's John Worsfold. He's tapped it back and nearly went straight to Stone. And Worsfold showed a lot of courage and kicking in danger. He actually paid the umpire, Ross.
Yes, he's got the free kick, but sometimes you never really know what for, do you, by the way the umpire's signal.
Well, there's John Worsfold towards half. What Ablett the flyer? Did he take it? No. As they charge in after this, where the Eagles fall down once they get around half forward. It's shoveled out to Yates. Yates has gone to Denham. He smothered that well. Back to Yates. And again, they're getting it out of defence far too easily, the Cats. As Yates long to half forward. Grenier tries to fist it away. This is David Cameron. Good play by Dean Turner, who's got the job on him. Good play also by Cameron to hook it back into play. Brownless almost took the mark running with it. Oh, punched by Count beautifully to Scott. Scott into the open goal for a certain.
40 points again. It was 54 midway through the second quarter. Dean Laidley. 50-metre kick, 25 up and 25 down, that one. Ablett went through, missed his opponent, picked up by Stephen Hocking for Geelong. To right half forward. 2-on-2 contest out there. They all lost sight of the ball. Russell ran into his teammate there, Troy. Did well to get a boot to ball. Now, that won't be the required distance for a mark. Big pack of players out there. Malaxos handles it well. Straight down the ground. In front, Schultz. Strong mark. Got some good hands, this fellow. Can take a good grab. Well, Rance again. He's blitzed Stoneham down there. Pike. He's been an excellent player for the Eagles this afternoon. Turley. Sumic. Almost. McCrabb over the top. Oh, good bump, put Boss out of business. Turley again, who's already kicked a goal today. Back to Mainwaring. Now, where are the Eagles forwards? Nowhere to be seen. And a safe mark again taken by Schultz. That's his second in a matter of moments. On to Gary Ablett, and here he goes. He's got a panic. And he ran down the ground in the second quarter and kicked a goal. He won't with that one, but it does cover 50 metres. Ground is great grab.
Oh, back the distance here. He should turn around and kick it now because there's no one in the goal square. Now, this will be a 55, maybe 57-metre kick. He is a prodigious kick of a ball. Let's see if he can do it. Oh, he sends that one into orbit. A beautiful long kick. He splits the centre. What a goal.
That's the sort of play that Geelong want from Bill Brownless. It wasn't as easy a mark to take as it looked because Gary Ablett's kick was a little wobbly. And coming out at full thrust as Brownless was to take it as he did. It was a fine mark and an equally fine kick. And he certainly can roost the ball.
Look at that.
He really let fly, didn't he? Good to see him pointing his toes. He kicked, Peter.
Yep, and well, I'd never bet against him anywhere within 60 metres. I wouldn't bet against Brownless. He's a prodigious kick.
There's a kicking contest mooted for grand final day. You'd have to include him, wouldn't you? Cats again go forward. Couch through some pretty heavy traffic. Wobbly left footer. Up to Brownless again. Gary Hocking almost out of bounds. Now he was the ball. He's running into goal. The angle is acute. It's out of bounds on the full.
It deserved a goal, Ross.
It did. The boundary umpire's a little bit too far behind there. He could have actually gone a bit closer. With a shot at goal there.
Pretty hard to kick from the boundary line, though, aren't they? So 13-10 to 6-6. Stoneham punches it down. Morgan. Can he make it 4? That's close. Shaved the post, I think. Yes. And all of his 3 goals have been kicked at that end. That was, of course, in the first quarter. 13-11 to 6-6. 89 to 42. Now the Eagles again will have to get a rattle on. They did in the latter stages of the second quarter. Mainwaring marks a wobbly kick out from Lockyer. Gets a play on call from the umpire. And he's got Turley making good position on the right half-back flank.
Yes, Craig Turley, a hand pass over the top. West Coast play with it is Dean Laidley. Oh, they've kicked it high again to the forward line. This is where they fall down. Malaxos used his body well. Sumic lost it. And, geez, they've got an ordinary forward line at the moment. It was Boss, and now it's Couch. Back to Boss. Oh, kicking. Talk about in danger. It could have been against Hart there, and the Geelong crowd thought so, Ross.
Yes, I get the impression they weren't happy with that.
Could have taken his head off, but they've got to do something about their forward setup. This kicking it up in the air, the Eagles.
And they kicked to Steve Malaxis, who had 3 players on him, and he's only 5'4".
They really have to do some homework on that forward line, because at the moment it's coming out of defence far too easily.
Perhaps Steve Malaxis could be 5'10" and 11, not 5'4".
Well, they might even be better off putting the ruckman out in the pocket and having Bremen lead out from full forward and just kick it in front of him.
Yes.
Well,
see, Laurie Keane's in a bit of trouble at full forward. He looks as if he might have damaged his Achilles.
Well, Burke has gone wide, and he has found Steve Hocking. And they're in trouble, the Eagles, 6-6 to 13-11. Geelong again well on top. Steve Hocking sets it up for Brownless, or is it Stoneham from behind? Over the top, and it was Barry Stoneham, in fact, taking a lovely mark.
It was a good mark, and in fact, he's been very quiet. Murray Rentz has done a very good job on Stoneham. Yes, I'd pay that mark, even though it's from behind.
Stoneham, a greatly improved player, but as you said,
it's
look
his
at
first
that.
mark, but
2 kicks and 2 handballs. His first mark. So that's how well Rance has played under pressure. Now, Stoneham slipped as he went to kick that one and has put it through for a behind. 13-12 Geelong, 6-6 the Eagles.
And Malcolm Blight's been very happy with Barry Stoneham's form so far this season at centre-half forward.
Just over 15 minutes left in the third term. Mainwaring and Cameron. Mainwaring comes out the better in that particular duel. Kicks into the man on the mark. Rance, long looping hand pass, not a particularly good one. Put his teammate down there, Worsfold on the pressure, and it's finally Troy for Geelong, who kicks it back, and a safe mark is taken by Scott. Goes out wide, which is not the way to play this ground. Langdon, good tackle Denham. Ball spills free for Morgan. In pursuit of Nia. Morgan shoots. Goal number 4.
Here unless they pick up the West Coast, 6-6 to 14-12, and I thought Langdon showed a little bit of lack of vision then, as he does from time to time. That was Couch getting it to half forward. It's a free kick going down there to Gary Hocking, and now is that...
Well, Peter, he was about to, I'm sure he was, but he realised that that's exactly right.
And that's where they made that mistake early, against Sumic.
And Laurie Keane's off the ground and Michael Brennan on at full forward.
Well, you see the man on screen is Gary Hocking. He's already kicked 2 goals. He's gone for the short one. Brownless, yes. Strong mark, and that's what the Eagles aren't doing down the other end.
And it's been a change of form in terms of marking for Bill Brownless. He was a little clumsy or butterfingered, whichever you like to say, last week, and a little bit early this game today. But in this quarter, he's been very sure.
Well, you mentioned an early goal helped. He got that early goal, and his confidence went sky high, didn't it?
It does make a lot of difference,
well,
Peter.
He's kicked 3, and he'll kick from 50 metres. He lays back, and he's hooked this one. No doubt about the distance, but well offline and through for a behind. So the Eagles live again. But look at that, 27 scoring shots to 12. And I think that's indicative of the game.
But I think on that occasion, Bill Brownless tried to kick the leather off it, as he did in the previous shot at goal he had, and didn't time as well as he normally would.
Dixie Marshall has some news for us, I guess, on Laurie Keane. Dixie?
Yes, Pete, but I think the Eagles officials are playing games with me. I've just spoken to the doc. He says Keane is A-OK, but they've just dragged him as a precautionary measure.
All right, we'll take your word for it. McCrabb in front of Malaxos, very close to the boundary line. He will be thrown in underneath the minor scoreboard down there.
Dr. Glendinning here diagnosed an Achilles tendon 5 minutes ago, Pete, so he might be right.
It's pretty good from up here.
I saw him
He was a bit proppy, I must admit. I looked at him through the glasses. Ania gets well tackled. The ball spills. Turner out of bounds on the full. Is it? Yes. And who's going to take it? Dwayne Russell, who had a brilliant first half. Got a hefty knock about the 25-minute mark of that second quarter. Now here's another 50-metre penalty. They're red hot on these.
But you just can't afford them. They cost you goals.
Well, anything sort of forward of centre-half forward is a bit dangerous, isn't it?
Well, forward of...
centre-half back, I should say.
Well, centre-half back.
Now, let's see how far out he is. He's about 30 metres now. Bairstow shoots. And a goal.
Eagles really copping a hiding at the moment. Morgan, a quick kick to Stoneham. Rance again putting him under pressure. Dean Turner over the back towards half forward. It's tapped away by O'Connell to Worsfold. Good play, Johnny Worsfold, to Pike. Pike inside with a hand pass to Phil Scott. He hooks it. It's a wobbly kick towards full forward. Over the back is Brennan. Malaxos also there, but it's a free kick in the meantime. The Geelong defence well on top, Ross.
Yes, they're very tight. They've closed down the Eagles' forward line and making it very difficult.
Schultz to half back. That's a free kick.
Mind you, I'm also critical of the Eagles' disposal into their forward line. They're not overly tall in some areas. Some of the taller players further up the ground. They just made it too difficult.
This is David O'Connell now. He's not sure what to do with it, so he's going to kick it high again. It's a floater. Hart in front. He could have copped a... No, it wasn't. It was
free kick.
Brennan in front. He copped one in the back, but the umpire paid the second free, and this is Todd Breeman, who was not selected in the original side. He took the place of Barrich.
This will be their first score for the quarter, Peter, if he kicks anything.
Well, Breeman from... I think he might be their best bet at full forward, and just tell him to keep leading and feed it out to him. 25 metres out directly in front, and he has missed.
That's the direction he ran in, Peter.
And it resulted in 1 point, so 6-7. They've added one behind this quarter. Geelong has added 5 goals, 3. A premiership quarter, as we referred to it in our half-time summary. It certainly turned out that way for the Cats. Schultz out to Boss. Mark Boss from right half-back flank. Finds Troy on his own, a little bit short of midfield. He's outside the centre square. He's gone across the ground, but he's got David Cameron on a lead. To Denham. He'll have to be quick. Denham's kick up towards the forward pocket. Plenty of Geelong players there. Brownless onto his left foot. No, yes. It's onto the right one. I don't know whether he actually had a shot at goal there, but it's knocked over the boundary line by McKenna. And it will be thrown in right forward pocket for Geelong. There's just over 10 minutes remaining in the third term. Scott in front. Goes for the boundary line again. Doesn't get the boundary line, but goes through for one rushed behind.
Well, Guy McKenna, to me, he's a very highly skilled player. Ross, would he be able to play up the ground?
You would think so. In fact, the way they're going, it's worth a try, Peter.
Anything's worth a try, isn't it, at the moment? Low trajectory kick. Oh, clean bowled. Main Waring in trouble. Cameron out to Hocking. Gary Hocking going for his third goal. Just misses by only centimetres. 15 now. 105, so 5-5. The Cats tally this quarter, and the Eagles have added one behind. Lockyer looking for leads. He'll go to the grandstand side. He's looking for Rance over there. Russell over the top. Langdon fumbles at the crucial moment. Mainwaring tries to get it back to him. McCrabb falls on top of an opponent. Looks for a free kick for holding the ball. Langdon trying to get it out. Ania does so. It's a comedy of errors down there. Langdon finally to Rance. See if the skipper can lift his side. He's gone across the ground. Gains nothing. In fact, Cameron might gain possession. Ball socket away by Troy. Out to Scott. Scott shoots. Will it get there? No. Dribbles through for one behind.
Oh, beautiful trap by Scott, Ross.
Magnificently done. It just shows you the what can happen with one bad kick, doesn't it, Peter?
And they've added 5-6 for the quarter. And we've got just on 9 minutes left. Lockyer again.
Lockyer's... I felt sorry all day for Lockyer, the way that ball's been belted down there. He's only had 3 goals kicked on him. This is Ania. Ablett wrestling with O'Connell, but you can see the recovery. Just too much skill there by Ablett. He comes out of defence, 2 bounces onto the left foot, and have a look at that delivery. Is that magnificent to watch by Ablett? He found Denham to the centre of the ground, and Garry Hocking. And the Cats, they really do use that ball well. Now, he's going wide to the half-forward line. Brownless in front of Lockyer. Up he goes. 2 bites. Couldn't quite get there. McCrabb to Cameron. An open goal coming up. Cameron can handball to Morgan. Morgan for goal number 5. Yes!
Be a couple of assists there. It started off with Gary Ablett, then Hocking. And then, of course, Cameron back into the centre. Scott to Malaxos. Good ruck work from the Eagles. They need to get it out of the centre. Mainwaring's been a trier all day. Had a great year last year. Straight down the ground, but not a well-directed kick. The Eagles forward line is in the land of the missing at the moment. Hocking will probably race it through for behind. No, he won't. He gives it to Yates. Out the boss. They're combining well down there, the Geelong defence. Ablett. McCrabb. Oh. Still good enough to get boot to ball, but it's not accurate. Mark was missed, and it goes ultimately to Pike, who's gone across the ground. And the mark taken by Worsfold. Inside the centre square. Short pass again. Dean Laidley with the mark at left half forward.
This is where they fall down now, Pete.
Yes, they haven't had too much so far as strike power down there. All Geelong up. Snapshot for goal for the Eagles by Hart. What's he done? It's a goal. And to say it was a badly needed one would be the understatement of the afternoon. That's his second.
And the Eagles, unfortunately, relying on a lot of their smaller players to generate some interest in this game. Their taller players, whilst trying hard in that forward line in O'Connell, Sumich, Phil Scott resting off the ball, and also Michael Brennan, who's come on to replace Laurie Keane, just finding these conditions just a little slippery underfoot. They're not quite so sure as some of the smaller, fleet of foot players.
Their first goal for the quarter, 7-7 to 16-16, and 7 minutes 11 seconds remaining in the term.
Damien Burke, the big fester, Bairstow, he's caught. Couch picks it up out of the centre. Another quick kick. Guy McKenna is a very sure ball handler as he gives it across to a near. Wide it goes to Worsfold. He's got it on half-back flank. He'll probably go for Laidley. No, he's electing to kick it instead. Oh, straight to McCrabb. That's very poor disposal. Austin McCrabb at half-back. He in turn goes down the centre of the ground. Brownless the flyer. Oh, got up very high, but a free kick has been paid. I might go to Russell, this one.
John Todd alternating his plays again. Todd, I beg your pardon, Michael Brennan off the ground, and Shane Ellis on.
Well, this is Dwayne Russell, a long way out, about 70 metres out from goal. He's going for the drop punt. It's a good long kick too. Where's Brownless? It's fisted to the ground. Robert Scott's in there. Anir and McKenna. McKenna kicks it off the ground out wide. This is Bairstow against Laidley. Bairstow hooks it back. It's long and wide and through for one behind. So Geelong, very impressive display today. Look at the scoring shots. That's 33 scoring shots to 14. 16-17, plays 7-7.
And they've kicked 6-7 this quarter, Peter. 6 goals, 7. And the Eagles have had it, by contrast, 1 goal, 1. Not a particularly good quarter. I don't think I'd like to hear what John Todd had to say at three-quarter time. Murray Rance, I guess you'd have to say, has had the better of Stoneham. Oh, mark or free kick, whatever. Very gutsy.
Oh, what's it ever?
It's almost 50 metres for mine.
Gary Ablett still on the track. Anir goes for the pass. Not a good one. It was intended down there for O'Connell.
Ablett's down and hurt, Pete.
Yes, after that hefty clash. You mark that one down. That could prove costly. Murray Rance looking for 50 metres.
Let's hope it's not the knee.
Rance goes in short. Troy. He goes long. Beautiful kick, Darren Troy. Brownless is in the goal square and marks. Ablett is coming off. He is limping. It does not look good after that hefty collision. It appears to be his right leg. I was watching him and not the play, but in the meantime, the ball was back to Cameron. Dixie Marshall will have some news. Let's take a look at that again. Maybe his hammy, was it?
Might have been the hamstring, I think. The way he clutched at it.
Difficult to say, isn't it?
Well, let's hope it's that and not the knee.
It's good to see Ray Sterrett coming on for his first game of VFL football.
Geelong's #1 draft choice. More about him shortly. Back with Cameron as he shoots at goal. No mistake about that. bench, and we'll have news shortly. It does look like a hamstring, though. Couch driving Geelong forward yet again. Knocked away. Hocking looks for Scott with a hand pass. Beautifully taken by Hart. Free kick.
Holding the ball, he said.
And it's going to go to Sterrett. Or was it Cameron? It's Cameron's kick.
And Hart grabbed it, then got rid of it, Ross.
Yes, hasn't been the best of days for David Hart.
Hasn't been the best of days for too many of them either. Another one. So Cameron putting through his second, make that his third. 18-17, 125 to 7-7-49. Geelong this quarter kicking 8 goals, 7. Let's watch it again. That was the free kick. Here's the kick itself. Cameron virtually from point-blank range. Made no mistake about it. So Cameron 3, Brownless 3, Morgan 5. The major goal kickers for Geelong, and for the West Coast Eagles, Hart has 2 goals out of their tally of 7 goals, 7. They've added 1-1 in this quarter. And that's the side of Gary Ablett on the bench. Dixie, what's the situation?
Well, the doc says that he's probably just copped a bad cork. They've iced and bandaged it, but at this stage it's just a bad cork.
Well, I guess that's as good as we could have hoped for the Cats, as the ball was booted down by Russell.
Well, there's the chance again. Hocking, a quick hand pass. Brownless and Robert Scott. Scott the Brownless threw it, and the umpire said he copped it too high. So Robert Scott from 20 metres out directly in front should have an easy kick for goal. Well, there he is, the little rover. We've got 2 good rovers, Denham and Scott. It's a big acquisition for a side. He hasn't been in it much today, Robert. His little mate has, Denham. Scott from directly in front. Stabs at it. It's another one to the Cats.
It's a percentage builder now, isn't it?
And that's his second goal in this quarter. And Geelong, Malcolm Blight obviously feeling very comfortable with his players and starting the game with Andrew Buse on the bench. Still has him on the bench. And keeping him in cotton wool for a while.
Read the match report from last week. I don't think Buse had the best of matches from all reports. He'll be very keen to get into the action shortly, though, after sitting on the bench.
Pretty good bench player.
I'd have him aside,
automatic selection in the Victorian side.
19-17 to 7-7. He's a versatile player too. You see him use more up the ground. Out it comes to Couch from Bairstow. Knock on by Cameron. That was clever. Scott takes the attempted hand pass from Brownless, who gets it back from McKenna. He's got a chance to paddle it forward. Plenty of Eagles players in the road, though. Out comes Sterrett. He's Fremantle player, throws it to Couch, not seen by the umpire. Back it comes to Hocking, who shoots at goal. And that is his third.
He's deadly on that left foot.
Oh, yes, and Geelong seemingly now having all the confidence to do anything they wish. And the Geelong players just complimenting Ray Sterrett on his effort there, feeding the ball out unselfishly. And he really does punch the ball, Gary Hocking, as he kicks. Which is a sign of a player who knows where the goals are.
Yeah, as you say, punches it. And you'd imagine he'd be a great passer of the ball. And there's Ablett. I don't know whether that's a corky. His leg didn't seem to come into a lot of contact. Those trainers, they might be telling a few fibs down there, Pete.
10 goals, 7. They've kicked this quarter to 1 goal, 1. So a match-winning term by the Cats as Stoneham breaks forward. But it's going to be a free kick to one of his teammates down there.
On the mark.
No, Burke could have run on. No need. He's gone for a long one. Brownless up in front. Can't mark it. It comes now to Scott. Main Wearing. He's been one of their main triers. 2 on 1. And it comes down to the West Coast Eagles, O'Connell. Now it might bounce through this one. It's going pretty close. Stephen Hocking just got there, I think, and touches it through for 1 behind. So a point to the Eagles. And they cracked the half century, but they're a long way behind.
Again, Ross, no one to kick it to.
No, they're all up the ground, and David O'Connell would have been fortunate, actually, if that had gone through for a goal.
Well, here's Mark Boss, one of the unheralded players in league football. Never gets much of a rap. He does his job every week. Now, here's the chance for Scott as he hooks it up in front of goal. Sumic goes back. Here's Malaxos with a chance. Oh, too slow to get his boot. The ball now. Umpire calls play on, and eventually the ball is forced over the line. But this has been a terrific quarter, this by the Cats.
Good tackle from McCrabb there, Peter.
Yep. 2017 plays 7-8, so a real hiding for the Eagles at the moment. Over the back, here's a chance, hand pass to Malaxos. Now Johnny Anir, an open goal. He straightens up and he hooks it, and he's hit the post. So they can't do anything right. Well, always tries hard, Anir. 2017 to 7-9, so that's
86
13
points.
goals, 8. Huge margin as we see Mark Yates bringing it back into play. And that's an excellent mark by Boss.
Playing in front.
Very fine player is Mark Boss.
Hand pass. In fact, a chain of them. Now Sterrett can't get one away himself. McCrabb grabbed, but was it too high by Turley? Yes, it was. So McCrabb short of midfield to take the free kick with less than a minute remaining in the quarter. But an excellent one for the Cats. They can really build on percentage if they keep at it in the last quarter. Troy has the ball at centre field. Might be a chance for one more score. They'll need to get a mark here. Brownless up in a big pack of players. Hand pass comes out in the direction of the Eagles' Scott, who gives it over to Pike, who was their best player in the first half. The bounce doesn't favour Laidley. Sterrett. Back it comes to Scott, a little bit slow to try to get rid of it. Troy farms it out the couch. You'll have to kick it quickly, Darren Troy. Or poor Couch, rather. There it goes. It's on its way. Will it stand? Yes, it does. It's a goal on the siren. Kicked by Paul Couch. And so the score at three-quarter time, the Cats kicking 11 goals, 7 in that term. 21-17, 143 to 79-51. The third quarter, that's late in the third term, doing it well from the Sydney Swans, looking set for their first win of the year. 10-12-72 to the Swans, 4-11-35. And here at Kardinia Park, a magnificent third quarter by the home team. They kicked 11 goals, 7 to 1 goal, 3. And they lead by 92 points at the final change. So certainly a great chance for the Cats to build on a pretty good percentage that they can have here at the end of the game. John Todd, no doubt, saying a few words. He seems fairly calm.
Well, John Todd actually tends to be that way when the sides he's had, they've been so far behind. He doesn't see much value in berating players. It's better to try and regroup and get something back from the game. Try and perhaps block up Geelong, Peter, in this last quarter. Score as well. They've got nothing to lose, have they?
Well, I'll say it again. I don't think they'll be any good as a side, the Eagles, until they can find a good forward. And I've seen them in a couple of games this year, and their forward line has just disappointed me. They're haphazard. They kick it high. They don't really look as though, except for Phil Scott against Essendon, they don't really seem to have a guy who can take over the game.
All right, so John Todd laying down the law. Malcolm Blight would be obviously pretty happy with his charges, except the fact that Gary Ablett has a thigh injury. More on that later. From Kardinia Park, we'll take a break and back with the final quarter shortly. First.
Hey, just an update on Gary Ablett. It is a cork. They're just going to keep him off as a precautionary measure. He actually wants to go back on, but they'll keep him off, I think.
Final quarter just about to start at Kardinia Park. 21-17 to 7-9 in favour of the home team after they booted 11-7 in that third quarter. A magnificent effort. Malcolm Blight obviously very pleased. Pike gets first touch in the final quarter. Looks for a hand pass, but as has been the case most of the afternoon, no one there except the opposition. McCrabb. Knock on by Sterrett, their #1 draft choice from East Fremantle. McKenna. Turley. Beaten by Troy. His kick will be pretty close if it doesn't go over the boundary line. And Couch takes a very courageous mark. Paul Couch. Right half forward flank, long way from goal. Gary Ablett off the ground with an injured thigh. Brownless, the flyer, well out of position. Murray Rance, a strong grab to Lockyer. Goes around the outer side, punched away by Stoneham. In front is Bairstow. Has to try to beat two of them. Laidley finally picks it up. He looks like ringside with the Rattlers out there, and it will be a bounce close to centre wing. It's been a fine performance by Geelong. The Eagles fought back well in the second quarter. After they trailed at one stage by 54 points, they reduced the deficit to 28 at half-time. And we thought, I guess along with many others, that they could have been a chance in the third quarter. It didn't turn out that way. It was a fantastic third term by Geelong. And so the Eagles will return to Perth with quite a few problems, and as we see it, mainly on their forward line, and that's backed up by the score at the moment. Knocked down by Scott, picked up by McCrabb, relayed to Troy, and Troy goes long up towards Brownless.
Brownless was held, and Rance has certainly not let them down today. Gee, he's tried hard under enormous pressure. A hand pass given out to McKenna. McKenna wide, finds Laidley. Laidley straight up the centre wing area. He's looking for O'Connell. O'Connell, 2 bites and doesn't take the mark, and I don't think you can argue about that one. He didn't hold it long enough. It's at half forward for the Eagles, and a pretty disappointing effort, we'd have to say that, because they beat Geelong here last year. There's Malaxos. A lucky free kick. He had the ball. Steve Malaxos at half forward. Now the lead, 2 leads here, 2 options, and that's much better forward play as the mark has been taken by Peter Sumich. Now Sumich will kick from about 45 metres, and they really have to do something in this quarter to show that they can play, because they've been thrashed so far. Sumich from directly in front. Nice looking kick, straight through for a goal.
Mitch, the Eagles' first score of the final quarter, and they need plenty more of them. Malaxos has to beat 2 of them. McCrabb gets it over the top of Turley, taken by Denham. Turner underneath it, and takes a pretty good mark close to the boundary line. Dean Turner, left half-back flank, needs to get it moving quickly for the Eagles. Didn't see them winning it. That'll be one of the miracles of the ages. Now, a free kick will go the Eagles' way. A push in the back, fairly obvious, to Ellis. And Ellis will take that free kick outside the 50-metre line. He's got the breeze behind him, albeit slight. And that has been the scoring end today. Cameron, not Cameron, but Hocking takes it over the line. And one rush behind of the Eagles. That was almost taken by Bremen. 143 now to 58. Kicked 3 goals today himself, Gary Hocking. And he's pretty deadly on that left foot. Mark Yates to the outer side. Worsfold got a hand to it. Bairstow spins out beautifully. Brilliantly done. Centering kick. Looks for Sterrett. Couldn't find him. Opposition from Main Waring. He'll get there first. Good tackle. Ball spills free for Langdon. What can he do with it this time? Straight down the ground, and the mark to Ellis. Has it been paid? No, says the umpire. I thought he grabbed that. That was a little harsh.
Well, he got a charity free kick a moment ago, and then a certain mark they don't pay.
Austin McCrabb, ballet-esque down there. It's coming up Geelong's kick to Dwayne Russell, who was brilliant, especially in the first half. It was easily Geelong's best player. Brownless a mile in the air. Scott, well tackled by Pike. Out it comes once again to Bairstow. Now Brownless a second chance as there's a wrestle just on the 50-metre line. Back to that in a moment. That could be a goal to Brownless, or is it touched on the line? One behind to the Cats. The whistle still going right on the 50-metre line. Temper's becoming just a little bit frayed. Peter?
Yes, and the umpire's with it well in control. Nothing too serious, I wouldn't think. I don't think anyone would argue with Damien Burke anyway. There's McKenna has gone short to Rance, and I think Rance has been one of the Eagles' best players today. He's beaten his opponent under enormous pressure. Good effort by the captain. It's at half back for the Cats, for the Eagles, I should say. There's Turley to Ellis. A quick hand pass to Anir, who ran into a brick wall. There's Sterrett, who looks a pretty tough customer. Over goes to Russell, knocked away by Denham. His intention was Troy. Now it's Hocking on the right foot. Oh, beautifully set up for his forwards. Fisted away, comes to Scott, the little rover, ducks around on the right foot, hooks it back, Couch from behind, still in after it, Couch off the ground. It's a goal to Paul Couch.
He's second, and also Cameron with 3. Billy Brownless also has 3, and Morgan has 5. Major goal kickers for the Cats, and there's Morgan going for the knock-on. Down to Hocking again. He won't score a goal with that kick, but it'll go pretty close. Lockyer out from the square, goes for the safety of the boundary line. And it'll be thrown in about 35 metres out.
Tell you what, it'll be lovely on the forward line with Hocking kicking to you with those low kicks, Ross.
Oh, wouldn't mind me on the end of a couple of those myself.
You could handle that, Peter, could you?
Oh, beautiful.
So it's a boundary throw in. It's going to be Burke looking for the front position with Scott. Burke got it down, albeit not very far. Cameron, good ball skills. Just can't quite pick it up inside the boundary, did he? He had a snapshot. Boundless. Strong mark.
I don't think a lot of people realise he'd be 6'5", Billy Brown.
Yes, he's fairly tall. He's got a great leap too, and as we know, can kick the ball a country mile. This country lad, he won't need to worry about the distance here, though. And Roundless is fourth. I haven't shortchanged him as well, have I?
No.
We agree on that. Thank you very much. 58 to 156, so that's a 98-point deficit now facing the Eagles. Let's watch it again. Cameron right on the boundary line.
Looked very confident, didn't he? I'm sure that'll please Malcolm Blight, not only with Brownless's form, but the way they're finishing off.
Well, Malcolm told me before the year that Brownless had the full forward position as long as his form warranted it. I think today it does just that. He's kicked 4 goals, and let's face it, Lockyer has not been a bad player. In fact, he's been one of their best. Laidley now from the square. Long to full forward. At the back is Mark Boss. And has he been paid the mark? No, one behind. So a further point to the Cats, making the difference 99 points. 58 to 157, and Boss will do the kicking in now that the umpire has finished waving the flag.
Well, Boss and Yates down on that back line, two very similar players. Not over tall, but gee, they're very reliable. There's the fist away from Scott. It's gone straight to Couch. Oh, he's in all sorts of trouble. Gets in the hand pass. Morgan's caught. Umpire said it was held to him, and the bounce will take place about 50 metres out from the Eagles' goal. But I think it's fair to say it's been a very, very disappointing effort by the Eagles. I don't think anyone anticipated the margin being this. There's Ellis to Anea. Anea with the open goal, kicks and misses. Not the greatest kick for goal in the world, Ross.
He has his moments, John Anea. He has kicked a few 3s and 4s. They certainly needed that to boost their flailing fortunes at the moment, their percentage and a whole lot of other things.
23-18 to 8-12, and still Andrew Hughes hasn't had a run. He's warming up on the boundary line now. Not bad for a Victorian back pocket player to be coming on now. Denham towards centre wing. Russell's been a surprise packet. Now that was Bairstow, and eventually the kick towards half forward. It's fisted away. Mainwaring to Rance. John Worsfold. Worsfold's gone short. He's found Turley. Turley is on centre wing. Now the short one's on again. Oh, dangerous, but it comes off. This is David Hart. He's still right out in that boundary line and half forward. And Hughes still warming up at the 16 minutes to go in this match. There's the kick towards full forward. Over the back is O'Connell, and he's taken a good mark. And really, he's had trouble holding them today, Ross.
Well, that's surprising, because that's probably the hardest mark he's gone for. And he's held it, and a few others that he've had in front of his face, as they say, he's managed to spill. So,
well, David O'Connell from directly in front should kick this. Oh, he's hooked it. I think he might have missed. He has. So it's not their day.
Sean Denham coming off the ground to a huge round of applause, and Andrew Hughes very keen to get into the action. Races straight out to centre field. 156 to 61 is the score. A great percentage booster for the Cats, which will probably take them up to about 3rd position. We'll work that out later, depending on the other result today, of course. Mainwaring, the 2 number 3s, and Bairstow. Bairstow trying valiantly to keep it in play. And it will be thrown in inside the 50-metre mark. 15.5 minutes are left in the match. Enjoying it.
Well, this is Couch from halfback. Just gets his boot to ball. Now Turley, it's gone straight to him. Now he's got a loose man if he wants to kick it out wide. He had 2 loose men. In fact, he's picked out Shane Ellis. Ellis, who started in defence. Now he'll have to kick from approximately 38 metres. Let's see what he is. He had a stint here with Essendon and also with Footscray, Shane Ellis. Now, the kick, it looked a far more deliberate kick, and I think it's through. Yes, it is.
So it's certainly been shared out there. Worsfold drives them forward again, and that's a good lead. The mark taken by Bremen. The Eagles forward line has been rather statuesque most of the day. A little bit more movement around there, Peter, looking promising anyway.
Yes, that's what we said earlier. That's much better forward set up, that.
So Bremen, inside 50, gets plenty of distance with the kick, and I think he's got another one. He has. So yet another Eagles player to score a goal. 9 players now kicking their 10.
It's never too late to come back, and as they say, the game's not over until the fat lady sings. Is that correct? There's a chance for him to recoup something. If they can bridge that gap a little bit further, it'll please not only John Todd, but give them something to look forward to for next week.
Well, I don't care whether the fat lady sings or not, as long as it's not Peter McKenna. He's the only pop star sitting up here. Great career, Peter. Pop star.
Yes, they sold 3 records.
I'm dead, your brother.
Well, there's Phil Scott with the free kick in the centre, and I'd like to see them get that ruckman out of the goal square and give Bremen a bit of room to lead. And they might have a better forward set up. There's Hocking getting it across to Darren Troy. Oh, this is dangerous because Bairstow's coming down the middle, gets his boot the ball. Where's Billy Brownless? There he is. Can't take the mark. Back in after. Lockyer was held. Play on, said the umpire. Michael Schultz down there to have a shot and put it through.
Fourth, both teams in the final term kicking 3 goals. So we go back to the centre, 162 to 73. Still a fine percentage booster for the home side. Burke. Geelong will be very keen to get him through the game unscathed. Troy. Langdon. Long hand pass intended for Hart. He comes back to the centre field area again after Scott ultimately. He's got a good turn of speed. 2 good rovers, Geelong. That's a fine lead by Morgan. Brilliant play. And unselfishly, Scott had chipped into the gap and marks about 35 metres out directly in front.
Well, that's intelligent forward play, Ross.
Yes, and just shows what crisp, clean disposal can do. It wasn't as open as it looked, but a low trajectory pass like that doesn't miss its mark.
Scott for goal number 3. And Geelong's 25th. He's got that one.
But the smaller players of Geelong have been very effective today. Their disposal particularly has been very neat. It's given their forwards plenty of opportunities, as indicated by the scoreboard.
Well, this is, as I said, a tremendous percentage booster for Geelong to win a match by nearly 100 points at this stage of the season. It's almost as good as 2 wins. And Scott will be very happy with his work today.
I think it's made a big difference having Damien Burke back, Pete.
Has it what? He was very mobile in the first quarter. He got the better of Laurie Keane when he was on the ground. Burke again, a kick by Pike. Towards the centre wing position. Buse looking for his first touch of the afternoon. It's come up with McCrabb. And the umpire's found a free kick, and Andrew Buse is going to get his first kick of the day.
Well, a pretty good play to be on interchange. Russell was fantastic early in the game. In fact, he's been a good player all day. Darren Troy's played pretty well too as he brings it towards full forward. Michael Schultz up, couldn't take it. Lockyer charges his way through. He almost lost it. Dragged to the ground. That could be holding it. No. Umpire John Russo said it was held to him. It'll be a bounce. About 25 to 30 metres out, the 2 umpires today, Peter Carey and John Russo. This is Genial John, one of the nicest guys amongst the umpires. Not that they're all right, aren't they, Ross?
They're all good umpires, aren't they? And nice blokes, you're quite right.
Here's Couch coming towards the pocket. Lockyer keeps it in play. He might be dangerous. In went Mainwaring, used his body well and playing for the free kick, and he got it. So Chris Mainwaring in the back pocket. Pretty ordinary start for the game, Mainwaring, but really picked up after that, and now he's had 16 kicks and 6 handballs as the kick comes to half back. Plenty of high flyers. Malaxos doing the crumbing, brings it towards centre of the ground. Steve Hocking comes out onto the left foot, down towards half forward. Oh, could have been an interference to Geelong there. Here's the little rover Scott. Scott over the top to Russell. Oh, Russell shrugs the tackle. Over to Bairstow. I think he might have been tripped. Yes, he was, said John Russo, and it's a free kick right in front of goal, coming up to Mark Bairstow.
Russell down at the moment. I think he had a clash with Langdon. He gets up very proppy.
Dwayne Russell there, just prior to that happening, showing great strength in holding his ground, and players like he, Matthew Larkin and a few others who had that strength in their legs don't often fall to ground, and when people do fall to ground, you're often short.
So this is Bairstow. He's kicked 2. And I think it's another one. Yes.
Or more, the difference is 101 points, down to half forward again. Stephen Hocking did it well. Gets the ball out to Yates. Tries to find McCrabb. Buse, well tackled Turley. He might have got one in the back for his trouble. But nothing for it from the umpire. And it will be a bounce. Left half forward flank for the Eagles. And another Eagle limping off down there. Coming back on was Brennan. Murray Rance, the skipper, yeah. So that's not good news for them. Scott trying to break clear. The ball tapped into the open spaces. A holding the man decision awarded against Geelong. The free kick will be going the Eagles' way. Scott to take it. He's kicked 1 goal so far. The attrition rate pretty high amongst the star players, with Ablett also on the sidelines. And now Rance. Too easy for the Cats. Yates breaks away again. As Peter said, hasn't got great height. Has got fine skills nonetheless. Of course, they had a fine fullback down here years ago, Gary Malaki, who was a Collingwood 6-footer, but what a great player, Peter.
Top player. Still living down this way too, Pete.
Stoneham taps it down, can't get it clear of the pack. Scott trying to pick it up. Finally fisted into the open spaces. Knocked back by Troy, knock on by Stoneham. Hocking, beautifully done. Taken away by Scott on right centre wing. Langdon, good tackle. The recipient Turner of the hand pass. Back to Langdon again. Umpire has found a free kick to the Eagles. The advantage rule paid. Malaxos goes inboard, and the mark is taken by Hart right on the centre circle. Looks for a short pass. Pike takes the mark, stood inside the square. And it's too easy again. Mark is taken by Mark Yates down there on the last line of defence.
That was a poor kick. Just a badly directed pass. The idea was right. We see Yates bring it to centre wing. Damien Burke fisted away towards the boundary line. Cameron can't get there, and it beats all the players over the line.
Small bit of trivia. Gary Malaki is such a fine physique. Built himself up very well chopping wood, Peter.
Is that so?
There you go.
Well, there's Burke getting it down to Scott. His opposite number. Scott towards half forward. This is Ellis. Back to Pike. Pike at half forward to Malaxos. Malaxos from 50 metres has got an open goal. Yates ducking back. Can he get there? Running with the flight, he's taken the mark. But they're wasting opportunities down there.
Been the story of the day, hasn't it? Andrew Buse, I dare say, would be an automatic inclusion next week if Gary Ablett doesn't come up. Buse from left half-back flank. Looks for Gary Hocking, who was just about off. Gets the benefit of the doubt from the umpire and finds Stewart with a hand pass. It wasn't a particularly good one, put Bairstow under pressure. Tries to find Couch. McKenna goes for the boundary line and finds it. And let's find out the trouble with Murray Rance. Here's Dixie Marshall.
Pete Rance has joined Ablett in the corp department. His 2 is in the right leg. Again, he will take no further part in the game.
I don't think you should either, Dixie. Take a throat lozenge. Up goes Russell. Working under difficulties. Dixie doing well. Morgan. And off the hands of the pack. Turner trying to keep Cameron at bay, but Scott's there. Kicks it actually into him. Cameron finally comes out with the ball. That was beautifully done. Onto the left foot, a short pass, a centering kick, and the mark has been taken by Stewart. Great play, Peter.
That was top play by Cameron Ross. He's got good skills.
Yes, he's worked very well today. They've teamed well all day today.
It's a free kick the other way.
Well, Dwayne Waring has it. At right half-back flank. He certainly tried his hardest out for the Eagles this afternoon. And from right centre wing. Looks for distance with the kick, and he's got it. That was Ellis going up high. No, it wasn't. It was Bremen. And he's got a free kick. And there might be 50 metres here. We'll see what happens. No. It's a long way from goal. With the breeze behind him. 55-metre kick. In front was Stoneham. Ellis couldn't get boot to ball. Ellis now with a snapshot, and that looks okay. He's put it through.
Well, it was a great effort from Shane Ellis. He really battled hard in every contest there, and but just reward there, and snapped it very quickly on his foot and ran truly for him. So Shane Ellis kicking his second goal for the quarter. Here we see it in replay. Some good contest in here, and a very good quick kick from Shane Ellis.
There's no luck there for Stephen Hocking when he tried to go for the boundary line. That can often be a problem. And some pretty heavy traffic there, but it was Ellis that finally put it through for his second. Ellis's second goal, 174 now to 79. It's been a fairly good quarter for the Eagles, but the damage has already been done.
Langdon has been a pretty quiet player, and it seems to have been off the boil a bit this year, Ross.
Yes, I know John Todd's asked him to try and direct his energies. He does run around a lot, very effervescent sort of player, but doesn't always run to the right spot.
Well, here's Malaxos. Oh, that could be holding the ball. No, there's Hughes. Well done to Couch. Good skills by Couch. That balk, and now he's hooked it back to centre half forward. This is danger. Or Morgan, was it in the back? No. Taken away by Brennan. Oh, touch of the fumbles out there was by O'Connell. He got himself into all sorts of trouble. And Lux of Fortune, the mark is taken out there by Laidley. And Laidley on centre wing is now bringing it across the ground to try and open up the goals. Turley couldn't take it. Bairstow, cleverly done to Troy. Troy down the ground, passes on. Beautiful football that by Geelong, and Billy Brownless got a chance here, Ross, to see his prodigious kicking again.
He kicked it further in one of the earlier quarters, so no reason why he can't do it this time.
Well, this will be a 53-metre kick. There it is, puts his boot to it. It's a long driving kick, just offline and through for a behind. He's kicked 4 goals today. In fact, I think Lockyer's done a pretty good job on him under pressure.
He's stuck with the task. He has had plenty of opportunities, Brownless.
Here's Andrew Lockyer. Can play at either end of the ground. And he's not sure who to give this one to. He looked for Dean Turner. It's come off, but a bit dangerous. As Turner brings it to the centre of the ground, a shocking kick straight to McCrabb.
Austin McCrabb at midfield. Yes, they miss a sort of an informed Chris Lewis on the forward line, don't they, the Eagles? Scott breaking forward, clear of Laidley. McKenna leading in the race for the ball. Cameron has had a very good second half. Runs into Pike, and Pike must get a free kick for a high tackle. Don Pike. Not a well-directed kick. It's been the story of the day, though. Troy out to Bairstow. Now, he can go long. Langdon and Hocking. Well, did he get grabbed too high by Langdon? No, said the umpire. Good tackle by McKenna. The ball spills for Pike. There's the advantage rule played. No, the ball will come back to Guy McKenna, and he'll take the free kick in the right back pocket. Under 4 minutes left in this match at Kardinia Park, which Geelong will win. So it will make the situation in the head-to-heads with these two clubs 2-all. The Eagles won here last year. McKenna looking for Malaxos. Got a hand to it. Onto Turley, who kicked a goal early on. That's a better placed kick to Ellis, who kicked the Eagles' last goal from the square. Won't score one from there, of course. Bremen on a lead, and that's what they should be doing. At least it's an improvement. Picked up for the Eagles by O'Connell. A high ball down to right half forward flank. Scott's there for them. Can't quite handle it. Stoneham does the necessary tidying up work, but a bad hand pass goes straight to Hart. His kick goes straight up and down. Now, is that a mark? Yes, it is. It has been paid. The required distance was there, I guess only just. And Bremen has the grab.
I wonder how Ross would like to get under the passes of that David O'Connell, Pete.
That was a hospital job, that, wasn't it? Did some marvellous work here at the Geelong Hospital. Luckily, he didn't finish up there.
Oh, beautiful kick.
Prodigious kick, and shaves the post on the way through. It hasn't been the Eagles' day.
You can kick a ball, Ross.
Yes, you can. Oh, he's a very accurate kick. I mean, anyone who's kicked 100 goals in any standard of football must be able to kick the football.
95 points the difference. Andrew Buse moving up from the back pocket, which he knows so well. A kick to centre wing. Langdon goes to spoil. That could almost be a mark. It is dragged down by Russell. And again, the advantage of playing in front. On to Buse. Langdon in pursuit. Buse will have to get rid of it quickly. He'll give it back to Russell if he can. Yes. Dwayne Russell finally getting clear. Kick dropping a little bit short up at the 50-metre line. Laidley onto a near. He's got Pike running alongside him. Didn't bother with him. Tries Worsfold on right centre wing.
Dwayne Russell's had 20 kicks and 8 handballs. There's Worsfold to Bremen. Over the top is Mark Yates. Had a lot of injuries in his career, Yates. Really missed him when he's out too. Stoneham tries to shovel it out. Now, the umpire said that there is not a real fair dinkum attempt to get that out by the Eagles, and it's a free kick to Geelong, to Steve Hocking. David Hart on the mark with 1 minute and 14 seconds of this game to go. Disappointing effort by the Eagles, but Geelong have looked good. Hocking to half back. Free kick to one of his teammates there, and this time it's Gary Hocking, his brother. Again, there's a loose man out wide, and it's this time it's Paul Couch. Couch has gone long towards half forward. Schultz at the back doing a bit of the wrestling. Lockyer read it well. Back it comes to centre wing. One-on-one battle. It's fisted away. Straight to Robert Scott. His wide hand pass to O'Connell. O'Connell's tapped it away from Main Waring. Straight to Andrew Buse. Oh, boy. There's Darren Troy. He gets his boot the ball. Down towards half forward it goes. Brennan to Worsfold. Worsfold to Malaxos, and he should mark, and he does.
Markle free kick to Steve Malaxos as the clock ticks down. And it'll be only academic interest. The Eagles will have to regroup after what will be 2 straight losses. They got away to a great start in the match against Essendon at the Wacker, but couldn't go on with it. They weren't really in this one after Geelong blitzed them early. Sterrett trying to get clear. There's the siren. The Cats have got it. Their first win under their new coach, Malcolm Blight. And the final scores, Geelong, 26 goals, 19. They kicked 11 of those in the third quarter. 26-19, 175, defeating the Eagles 11-14, 80. Of the game here today at Kardinia Park, 26-19 to 11-14 for Geelong. Morgan finished up with 5 goals. He got 3 of those in the first quarter. Brown has got 4, and the number of players got 3. Bairstow, Couch, Scott, Gary, Hocking and Cameron. And for the Eagles, their goals were shared by a number of players. The main ones were Ellis 2 and Hart 2. A convincing win, Ross Glendinning, to Geelong against your former side.
Certainly was, Peter. And that premiership quarter is brought in by Carlton some time ago. They kicked 11 goals, 7 was the telling quarter, and that certainly sealed the game for Geelong. And in fact, they were able to go on and kick another 5 goals in that last quarter, which would have pleased Malcolm Blight, just to finish off and percentage and try and instill some of that killer instinct. And on the statistically speaking, it just shows they did have a tendency pretty all the way through other than marking. But as Peter said, I think at halftime, mainly that marking a tendency of the Eagles because of the shorter game they played.
Where do the Eagles go now, Ross? After 2 successive defeats, they had a good first quarter or first part of an opening term against Essendon. The form obviously is there. What do they need, as you see it at the moment? We said forwards. Is that the key?
Yes, and I think what they've got to do now is just persevere and try not to change their personnel too much. They wouldn't have got too many injuries out today, although Laurie Keane looks a little bit suspect with that Achilles or ankle area problem. But I'd prefer that they keep their players stable and not keep chopping and changing, give them a chance to settle down. They've got a tough program. You've got Sydney next week, North Melbourne home, then Brisbane the week after that, so a lot of travelling.
Okay, Ross Glendinning's thoughts on the Eagles' annihilation here this afternoon. They went down by 95 points. We were telling you earlier about Holden's greatest 25 players since 1965. Gerard Healy was given as number 25. Who's number 24?
Between now and early July, we'll be counting down Holden's greatest 25 players since 1965, starting with the 25th best player. After you've listed 15 footballers, the competition starts in earnest because it's your job to compile a list of the top 10 footballers since 1965. And if that corresponds in order with our commentators' top 25, you could be in the running to win one of 6 cars in Holden's magnificent range. By July the 9th, you should have our 15 players rated from 25 to 11. You then have until the 21st of July to come up with your top 10. Coupons for this exciting competition will be available at your local Holden dealership and newspapers around the country from next week. Fitzroy's Kevin Murray, who was once considered too skinny to play for the Lions' third 18, has been voted by Seven's football commentators as the 24th ranked player in Holden's greatest 25 players since 1965. It's a credit to Murray because he started his career in 1955, 10 years before eligibility for the competition commences. He became the youngest player to don the maroon and gold Guernsey as a 16-year-old. And in only his second year at the club, Murray won the first of a record 9 Best and Fairest awards. Murray, however, wasn't by any means a classical footballer, but his tenacity and perseverance, combined with his deceptive speed and superb judgment, made him one of the VFL's best defenders. But not even he beat every opponent.
But the hardest bloke that I ever played on, the hardest bloke to beat, you'd break even with him, but you'd never beat him, was Darryl Baldock. I played on Whitten, and he was a great player too, but Baldock was the type of player that you just couldn't beat.
Baldock may have posed headaches for Murray, but so too did a persistent back injury, which required him to wear a brace for much of his career. Despite the inconvenience, the courageous Lion never played fewer than 15 games per season during his 18 years in the VFL. In 1965, after 11 years with Fitzroy, Murray moved to Western Australia, where he captain coached East Perth. And while there, he became the first player to earn All-Australian selection with 2 states, after adding Western Australian colours to that of the Big V Guernsey, which he pulled on 24 times. 2 years after returning from the West, Murray won the adulation of the entire football world by winning the 1969 Brownlow medal as a 31-year-old. It was a fitting victory because he'd been runner-up in 1960, 62 and third in 1968. Murray may not have been as skillful as some members of Holden's greatest 25 players since 1965, but no one was more determined and admired than the former Lion, ranked number 24 in Holden's exciting competition. The 3 winners of Holden's greatest 25 players since 1965 competition will be in the running to win one of Holden's fantastic range of cars, including this top-of-the-range Calais.
Holden's greatest 25 players since 1965, and today saluting number 24, Kevin Bomber Murray, the Brownlow medalist from Fitzroy. We'll take a break from Kardinia Park. Back in just a moment. Kardinia Park, but the current score at Carrara, which is in the latter stages of the final term. Brisbane heading for their first win of the year under coach Peter Knights, and they lead the Sydney Swans 18-15, 123 to 8-16-64. Had the Swans, of course, won today, they could have shot to the top of the ladder. That now won't be the case, and so a number of teams will have won 1 match and lost 1 out of the first 2 rounds decided so far in the 1989 season. Shaping up, isn't it, as a very interesting season. I think we might take the opportunity of checking the matches set down for decision next week, and indeed there are some beauties. The clash at VFL Park on Saturday has a lot of appeal. Fitzroy, of course, yesterday defeating Collingwood, and they clash with St Kilda, who have got us to one of their best ever starts in the VFL. They snuck home yesterday from Carlton by 4 points, Tony Lockett kicking 10 goals. That match is at league headquarters at Waverley and is shaping up as the match of the day, if in fact the one underneath it isn't. Hawthorn and Essendon. Hawthorn yesterday recording their first win of the year when they defeated North Melbourne at Waverley, and Essendon have done nothing wrong so far. They've won their first 2 matches, so that should be a bottler as well. Collingwood will take on Brisbane. The Magpies defeated yesterday, of course, at the hands of Fitzroy. Brisbane winning today against the Sydney Swans at Carrara. So both of those teams will be very keen to slog it out in that one. Footscray will take on North Melbourne. The enigmatic Bulldogs, I think we could call them, against North Melbourne. North won their first match. They lost yesterday. Richmond play Melbourne. And on Sunday, April the 16th, 2 games, the Sydney and the West Coast Eagles, Geelong and also Carlton. Check your local TV guides for the coverage. Hope you've enjoyed the match from Kardinia Park. Good afternoon to you all.